Not a great week. He's not a trillionaire.
I mean, anytime you tell everyone that the rocket is going to go up and then at the very last minute, I mean, this was kind of a surprising, stunning development just because, as you saw, if you're watching this or you might have even heard it, they sprayed this kind of water all around the rocket, which is normally the last thing that happens before it lifts off. Very, very last minute decision to scrub the launch. Of course, we've seen big impressive failures by SpaceX before. I mean, this is very much a company that is in progress. It's in development. They're open about that. They were planning on, and if they launch this rocket next week, we'll do it next week, planning on releasing some Starlink satellites into kind of the upper end of the atmosphere and allowing them to burn up. I mean, most of this rocket is going to get destroyed because it's an experimental rocket. Mm-hmm. And so from that perspective, you look at this as, okay, this is just part of the iterative nature of this very innovative company. I think, as you said, Carol, there are a lot of investors who had huge hopes, who have huge hopes, and are sort of on a hair trigger for the faintest sign that maybe those hopes are not going to pan out. And that's what we saw last night as this launch was scrubbed.
I think it's interesting that this is the first time that we're kind of seeing maybe a launch failure, something that we knew was going to happen, something that's happened before, but it's the first time that it's happening when the stock is trading, and you could see the Wall Street reaction. Mm-hmm. I mean, again, it's been down for a while, but it was interesting to watch shareholders react in real time to.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Elon Musk for years had said that he didn't want to take SpaceX public for this very reason, because this is a long-term play. There are going to be ups and downs. He's usually been very good about sort of laughing off failure, sort of making light of a big explosion or whatever. But it takes on a different lens when you're talking about trillions of dollars of investors' money on the line. And I think it comes at a time of real challenge. SpaceX and XAI, his AI company, they are now one company, and their fortunes are linked. So you have some sort of difficult stuff happening on the AI front, these Chinese apps that increasingly seem like they pose a significant threat. You have questions as you just mentioned in the Bloomberg story about what is XAI, and then you get this launch on top of that.
Well, and this happened with the IPO. We were trying to figure out, okay, so where's the value? Where's the business that everybody's excited about with Starlink, right? At this point, there's still lots of questions about so many things. Let's go to XAI, because there's a great story that's out on the Bloomberg, and it gets into the identity crisis at his chatbot companies by Carmen Arroyo. What is going on there, or what do we know, and how important is it to the success of the overall story here?
Now we've known that this has been a rocky situation. And we've known that because the sort of story, the public-facing story, has changed repeatedly. Yeah. Now, at first, it was this thing called Grok, which was going to be a fun, anti-woke chatbot, sort of like ChatGPT, but maybe more conservative. Then you had this kind of weird era of the AI companions when Elon Musk's company was chasing that. Right. And then you had, and as Carmen's story gets into, as the story that was published on the Bloomberg by our colleague Carmen Arroyo gets into, you had this recent effort to sort of chase Anthropic and try to develop. Anthropic was getting a lot of attention for Claude Code. This sort of what's detailed in this story is this frantic effort to basically make a Grok version of that. And it really seems like, and this is supported both by Carmen's reporting, but also things that we've seen, executives leaving and so on, that there's a lot of turmoil here, that this is a company that doesn't quite know what it is. And in some sense is, again, like I said, kind of chasing competitors or chasing this trend, which is an unfamiliar position for Elon Musk. He is not normally a person
He's kind of the trendsetter.
Exactly. And so that is an odd thing.
And why is that? Is it because the company just kind of is almost an amalgamation of every Elon Musk company that wasn't Tesla?
I think one thing, and if we had Elon Musk here, he might bring this up. I mean, one reason they are chasing is because Elon Musk was the co-founder of one of the other AI companies. OpenAI had this big dispute with Sam Altman, and for years has been sore about that. There was a lawsuit. He's been trying to develop competitors and so on. I think there's also an extent to which Elon Musk and his ability to tell a story to Wall Street, including telling a story to Wall Street about SpaceX, is always going to be about finding the next futuristic thing and putting himself at the center of that. That thing happened to be AI. And around the time that they were, marketing SpaceX, AI is a thing. And so you saw this, what felt like from the outside, and it appears based on reporting, maybe this is going on to some extent in the inside, just sort of like a hasty effort to, put an AI story onto this rocket company.
Yeah. But is it XAI crucial to whatever is the future iteration? Like we have SpaceX now, we talk about it merging with Tesla. How important is it to the overall story?
I mean, if you read the S1 and you listen to what the bankers were saying, it is crucial. It is very much, and Elon Musk has been saying this. I mean, it's an AI company. He has very much de-emphasized the parts of the business that once seemed crucial, the rocket launches and so on, even Starlink, where it's all about these AI data centers. It's all about getting data centers into space. And then selling that capacity and then having models and having this, vertically integrated AI company. I do think there have been sort of glimmers where you sort of see, okay, maybe this makes some sense. There has been this huge, crunch in terms of computing capacity, at least until maybe a couple of days ago with the Chinese story. But a sense that we're going to need more capacity. Elon Musk, of course, is very good at industrial scale development, building factories and stuff. So you could imagine a situation where SpaceX, this company that's very good at building rockets, might get very good at building something else, satellites or data centers or so on. But there are so many things that have to happen between where we are today, which is they have a really good launch business for the Falcon 9. That's their other rocket, the rocket that wasn't delayed. And then this other business that this is a years or even decades long proposition. And I'm not sure that all of the investors who bought into this are fully prepared for that, to go on that journey.
Hence goes from the beginning, like the pressure as a publicly held company. When you're private, there's a lot of things you can kind of get away with. But you also, when you're Elon, you get away with a lot. I feel like everybody always makes the caveat, never count Elon out,
Never count Elon out. Yeah, that has been the bull retort anytime anything happens. I will say the valuations that we're seeing, even at the current valuation, which is way down from where the IPO, it's very much dependent on making this AI story play. A version of the company where it doesn't have AI is going to be worth a lot less than the company we have today.
Okay, so we want people to read Carmen Arroyo's wonderful Bloomberg Businessweek story and her reporting, but can you just give us maybe a little preview? She starts the story off talking about Mark Nichols. Who is he? Why should people go and read this story and learn about him?
Well, what's so interesting, so he's somebody who came from inside SpaceX, who's running Starlink. And when I read this story, the thing that was most surprising to me is just how quickly all of this stuff had changed. And I had sort of forgotten that even a year ago, Elon Musk was talking about Grok as like a AI girlfriend or something like that. And we've come a long way where like all of a sudden it's trying to be this completely different thing. And the story has a lot of detail on what was a very chaotic effort to sort of pivot the company away from Grok, the thing I was talking about, and towards we're going to sell compute capacity to other companies, kind of like an Amazon Web Service type play. And that pivot is still happening. I mean, this is Elon Musk's companies are always very chaotic, and there is always a sense where it almost feels like part of what allows his companies to have energy and to get stuff done is the fact that nobody is safe, and at any moment Elon might shake things up. But here it's been even more extreme than usual. You've had most of the co-founders of XAI leave, many of the executives leave. Bold changes of strategy, and then you layer on top of that the challenge of competing models, not just in the U.S. but in China.
And I think it's all moving so much faster than everybody anticipated, which is even keeping somebody like Elon Musk kind of on his toes at this point. Maybe he'll just have another kid and just retire. I only say because you did a story that talked about.
He has a lot of kids. It could happen.